Do you really understand? You think you do, but do you? When you read something, you read a page, you read a chapter. Or maybe a chapter is a little too much, but when you read a page and you think you understand, do you? Because I know I don't. Many times I read something, and by the time I come to the end of the page or the section, I don't know what I'm reading. So I go reread it. And after I reread it, I still don't know what I'm reading. Has that ever happened to you? Well, today we are not going to have the solution for that. Truth be told, I am reading and learning about a subject. It's quite hard, it's quite difficult. Well, I'm interested in the subject, but it's just that there's all these technicalities, which makes it very difficult to learn in the beginning. And I think that's the case for a lot of us. I think you can relate to this feeling. This, honestly, sometimes it's a little frustrating, being completely honest with you. So, what I'm reminding you, as I'm reminding myself, is that we got to keep going. You have to keep going. Remember how it felt like when we first started these videos a couple weeks ago? Very unnatural, right? Now, I don't know if it's more natural. I'm still trying to format things and structure things to be a little bit more concise. But what I've learned in this journey is that the discomfort is part of the learning. And don't quit at the first encounter with discomfort. That is part of it. So get familiar with it. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's the same with reading. I think it takes practice. I think learning to focus. For example, today when I was reading, I was really unfocused. So building your focus up, strengthening your focus, and also holding on to the information that you are reading. Now, that being said, there are a couple of things that I want to recommend for you to do. Because if you recall, we are in this final series. Again, very sad. I don't know for you. For me, I'm still learning to adjust to it. But what you need to know is that we are in this final section of trying to figure out a very real and practical plan for us to implement in our learning. That is what we're doing here. So yesterday we talked about the 3 R's: read, recall, and review. And what I noticed today in my own studying and learning is that I'm having a hard time reading. That's why I posed a very real question to you in the beginning of this video, asking you if you've ever had those experiences where you read and it just feels like you know every word in that sentence, but what is it saying? What does it mean? So you go on YouTube and you try to learn about different ways of encoding and different ways of reading, and then at the end of it, it seems like there's just so much information. I don't know which one to choose. So here I want to share with you one simple hack. That's a very strong word. And everyone's using that word, like throwing that word around. Brain hack, learning hack, hack this, hack that. There are no hacks. But simply repetition, hard work over time. That being said, we can do that in an efficient manner. And that's what we're here to do. We want to learn efficiently and build these essential life skills. You got that, boss? All right, so now let me share with you what that technique is. That technique, it sounds weird saying that, a technique. It is a technique, technically. Technically, it's a technique, but you just got to practice and see how it feels. And maybe you can let me know in the comments if you've put this into practice and have gained some wisdom, some experience from this technique. And this technique is simply by asking questions. Why ask questions? That's a good question. Why ask questions? Because when you ask questions, you start looking for answers. And that helps with your focus. So when you're reading and you ask questions, instead of just blindlessly writing notes down, which is something I'm learning not to do, but instead to write questions, to turn titles, to turn information into questions, which I can then later come back to and answer those questions as a way of recalling, as a way of practicing, which we'll talk about in the later steps of this plan. But right now, you have to understand in step 2, is it step 2? Step 2. Step 1 is the 3 R's. Step 2 is making a deep analysis, reading actively. So we can say step 2 is active reading because this is part of your review. When you read the first time, recall, and you miss some stuff, you come back to review. This time, I want you to read in such a manner where you're asking more questions. And when you ask questions, you connect one idea to another idea. And these ideas, as they connect, is where the light bulbs in your head just start. Things start to get lit in a very practical manner, if that makes any sense. I think you know what I mean. And if you don't rewatch this video, because the goal of learning is not just to review and rewatch, but it's to be able to recall. And maybe when you don't understand what I'm saying, maybe that's my fault of not explaining it clearly. But it could be an opportunity for you to ask, what is this person? This chap? Who says chap? I think people, I don't know. I guess some people say chap. This fella, this person, this gentleman. What is this person saying? And when you ask those questions, like what I just did there, why did I just go on a tangent about different ways to call somebody? I don't know. There's many things I don't know. But what I do know is that actively reading is important. And today I didn't really actively read. You need to learn to focus your mind. That's why part of doing these videos, like I said, I enjoy letting my mind run everywhere and talk. But also I want to keep focus on the task at hand. And remember the objective and the steps that I'm taking to get to that objective. That is why I don't even know what time it is right now, which is not a very good thing. The timer wasn't working today, but I do have a timer on the screen, which I have not looked at so far. I think it's about time for me to go. And if there's anything you get away from this video, it's the fact that after you do the 3 R's, our step 2 is to make deeper analysis in your reading. And you do that by asking questions and connecting one idea to another idea. And hopefully, by tomorrow, when you come back, you can connect this idea to the next idea that we want to talk about. Until then, stay amazing.